Welcome back to that good old roller coaster. That's right, it's time for a really cool, weird video where I'm going to be counting down what, in my opinion, are the top 10 most irrelevant wooden coasters that can still be considered thrilling. So, basically, coasters that you don't really ever talk about because they're so irrelevant. Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So let's get started. We got number 10, Thunderbolt at Six Flags New England. Now, this is a park everybody talks about, but Thunderbolt, which is ironically in the middle of the park, is like never talked about. It's not a kiddie coaster at all. This thing is like 70 feet tall, except nobody ever talks about it. It definitely has some airtime. I hear. I know it has a double down in there. The layout's kind of cool and old. You know, it's a very old coaster as well. It's like 1946, I believe, or 41, and just a very cool coaster in the middle of the park that nobody talks about because it's overshadowed by, like, you know, Superman the Ride and Wicked Cyclone. So yeah, it's still cool ride, but very irrelevant. So that's a bummer. Number 9, we got Judge Roy Scream at Six Flags Over Texas. This is a park. I mean, I wouldn't say we talk about it as much as the last one, which is why it's not going to be as high. But you go under, as in like, well, not going to be as low, I guess. Anyway, to ride this coaster, you have to walk under a tunnel. That's right. This coaster is so far like outside of the park. Well, not really outside. It's still a part of the park, obviously, but the entrance to the ride is under a tunnel, so that's kind of funny. It's doesn't really have a whole lot of airtime, I hear. It's a little rough as well, but it is very pretty. It's next to that lake and everything, and very cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. So yeah. Anyway, and also you got to mention that name. What the heck is that? Is that even a coaster, or is that just like the name of some judge? I don't know. All right, number 8, we got Wildcat at Frontier City. Do you even know where Frontier City is? This is in Oklahoma, of all places, Oklahoma City. And the manufacturer, National Amusement Devices, nobody knows who they are, and they also don't care who they are because they only made like 4 wooden coasters that are still operating. This ride has like no forces at all, apparently. Like no laterals, no airtime, no intensity. Definitely a family wooden coaster, but still a thrilling wooden coaster as it's like, what, 60, 70 feet tall? So that's kind of cool. But yeah, nobody ever talks about this park. Didn't really have any cool coasters besides this and the Schwarzkopf Looping Star, so definitely a coaster that you don't really ever talk about. Very relevant, but it's about to get even more relevant. So number 7, we got High Roller at Valley Fair. Now, Valley Fair already is a very irrelevant park. I'm sorry, Valley Fair boys, but it's pretty irrelevant. And this coaster right here is really irrelevant. Nobody ever talks about it. I mean, really, the main thing that you hear about with Valley Fair is Renegade, because it's like one of the best GCIs in North America, but this thing, nobody ever talks about this. It's a silly out and back. Doesn't do a whole lot besides, I'm sure it has some airtime, and I've heard from Bradley that it's incredibly smooth, but doesn't do a whole lot. And also, the manufacturer, International Amusement Devices, you probably haven't heard of them because they only made 2 coasters, and one of them was Colossus at Magic Mountain, which was RMC'd, so that's kind of funny. Anyway, yeah, High Roller, super relevant. Very smooth, strangely, but super relevant, so that's kind of cool. Okay, number 6, we got Cannonball Run at Waterville, USA. And this is probably the most irrelevant CCI, and I just voice cracked through super hard. All right, anyway, Waterville, USA. Have you ever heard of Waterville, USA? Didn't think so, because it's in southern Alabama, near Mobile. It's actually like very close to the Gulf of Mexico coast, so that's kind of cool. And it's pretty close to the new park at Owa, so that's cool. They have that new Zempro Thunderbolt that looks terrible. Anyway, so yeah, this is a CCI. It's an out and back, you know, the white and blue support. So it looks older than it actually is. It's opened in like '95, I believe. Yeah, and a very cool ride. I mean, you know, it's a shorter out and back, something like Zeus or Timber Terror, except smaller and shorter. Still definitely cool. You can actually drive under this coaster, which I think is also pretty darn cool. But nobody talks about it because of this location. It's the only coaster at the park. Not as big as the other CCIs, and you know, but definitely cool ride, cool stuff. Irrelevant. So number 5, we got Wolverine Wildcat at my home park, or well, Cedar Point's closer, but still my home park, Michigan's Adventure. I am a Detroiter for those of you who don't know. This is by Din Corporation. Everybody loves Din. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. Awesome company, really great. They made some great coasters like Mean Streak, Texas Giant. You know, the big names in the wooden coaster enthusiasts. You know, top 10. So a very pretty ride. It's right next to this nice lake right here in the middle of Michigan's Adventure. Except the ride itself, the quality isn't so great. Not a whole lot of airtime. Not very smooth at all. Kind of boring. But still not terrible. See, a ride can be so terrible that it's talked about too much. Like, I would include something like, let's see, what's a bad one coaster still operating? Hurler at Carowinds. Nobody ever really talks about that for being good, which is why it could be considered irrelevant, but it's too irrelevant because too many consider it bad. So that's all the things I'm taking into consideration for this list. So yeah, Wolverine Wildcat, very underrated ride. Very underrated as in nobody ever talks about it, and it has that double up, double down. It's actually kind of funny. I'd say it's the mentally disabled brother of Phoenix, as it has this weird notch in the middle of the layout. It's the exact same layout as Phoenix, except there's this notch, like kind of like where the lift tilt ends. There's like a little turn halfway through the rides, like everywhere. Pretty weird. And it gets rid of a lot of the airtime. It does add some laterals, but you don't really want laterals on a coaster this old. I'd much rather have the airtime and especially buzz bars, but this ride does not have buzz bars, unfortunately. So yeah, so that's Wolverine Wildcat. Cool ride, relevant ride. One train, not that great of a ride. So moving on, number 4, we got Arkansas Twister at Magic Springs and Crystal Falls. This is a bit of a depressing one. It was relocated from Florida. And depressing, I say that not only because of the clouds, but because this ride has no airtime at all, and it's an out and back. So that kind of blows. It's by not by SNS, totally lied there. I actually don't remember who made this. I want to say William Cobb took part. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. But yeah, still a cool ride. Goes through the woods, but the airtime is pretty minimal. The final hill before the final turn looks to have some airtime, but that's about it. And that final turn actually is trimmed, so that's a bummer. But yeah, and obviously it's very relevant considering it's at a park I can't really talk about Magic Springs and Crystal Falls. Like, where even is that? Arkansas, obviously, but pretty depressing. This is the same park as they have X Coaster, the only Mauer Sky Loop in North America, so that's at least intriguing. So anyway, number 3, we've got Timur Hawk, Ride of Prey. This is an SNS over at Wild Wave in Canyon Village. Show of hands, who's ever heard of this? Nope, no. Oh, two out of 30. Okay, and you're all enthusiasts, right? You there? You have 600 credits and you've never heard of this. All right, cool. So this is in Washington. That's right, Washington State. Wild Wave in Canyon Village. This park has this and a Arrow Corkscrew, a classic one. So that's kind of cool. Except you never heard of this park, so you're obviously not going to talk about the 64-foot tall unique custom wooden coaster there. This coaster really focuses on laterals. It doesn't really have a lot of airtime, but I do hear it's butter smooth, or smooth as pudding, as Illinois coasters put it. So that's at least pretty intriguing. Yeah, it's like south of Seattle, so not really a park you ever really hear about a whole lot. So yeah, so that's Timur Hawk. Kind of cool. Number 2, we've got Classic Coaster, another coaster out in Seattle at the Washington State Fair. This is obviously a classic coaster built in the 50s, and recently retracked. So this definitely has some airtime. Very smooth still, or newly smooth, I suppose. Custom trains, very cool ride, but it only operates for 2 weeks of the year, so like nobody has the credit and nobody's able to talk about it. But I hear from the people that have ridden it, they say smooth, has airtime. That's all you really need. It's pretty short actually, but the layout it has allows for some pretty good G-forces exerted upon its riders, so that's pretty cool. So cool ride. It's unfortunate that nobody ever gets to ride it, so there you go. That's pretty relevant. Moving on to number 1, Tree Topper. Whew. Where's this? Upper Clements Park. Nobody knows where this is because it's the only coaster in its province. That's right, this is the only Canadian coaster on this list. It is in Nova Scotia, up in Canada. It's like, I'm talking east of Maine, maritime provinces. Yeah. So this is by William Cobb. It kind of starts off like a kiddie coaster, but this drop shown here is kind of big, so it's not. So it's considered thrilling. It used to be called like just roller coaster, or it still is on RCTV, but we're calling it Tree Topper because that's a cool name and it tops the trees. So that's kind of cool. Show of hands. Not show of hands. I need a tally of how many times I said cool in this video, because That's pretty cool. Anyway, so cool. Uh, I'd say that this coaster has a lot of hills that look like they deliver some cool airtime, like good airtime. I'm pretty sure it has buzz bars. Yeah, it does have buzz bars. I can kind of see in this picture. So that's pretty good. Who knows? Maybe it's the Swamp Fox of Canada. I should probably shut my mouth. Yeah, so Upper Clements Park, Tree Topper, only wooden coaster in eastern Canada, like east of Laurent. So that's cool. Cool. Anyway, that's the end of the video. I'll see you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want some more silly lists like this, then let me know in the comments. See you guys later.